This is Vivax Bamboo. It's finally shooting. Don't eat that. Don't eat that. Don't eat that. Don't eat that. Get back. Get back. Get back. Get back. Come here. Come here. Get back. Come on. Go back. Ouch. Anyway, goats will eat it up. This is Vivax Bamboo. It's huge and it's just now shooting. And it's the last day of April 2020. It's finally shooting. And it's about 21 years old or older. And it shoots every spring for about a month. It's pretty late to shoot. Has dark, smooth shoots. And I've never eaten them, but I've been told that they're very sweet and delicious. The wood from Vivax is much more tender than other bamboos. And as you can see, the grove is a lot thinner. And across the creek there, you can see yellow groove, nice thick stand on the edge of the creek. And the beavers love it. I'll show you something. If I can keep these goats from destroying all the shoots, I would have waited a little longer. Anyway, I'm barefoot out here and there's a lot of water moccasins, but they believe in standing your ground. As long as I don't step on them, I won't get bit. I'm walking through here to show you how big it is. Here's another shoot. Here's another shoot. They're big. And I shouldn't have the goats out here while it's here. Because I tell you, they will grab it. Don't eat it. They'll eat the shoots. It takes about 8 degrees Fahrenheit before it dies to the ground. Stop it! I'm gonna have to give up on this because I don't want to lose the shoots. They only come once a year. Don't eat this. Stay away from it. Anyway, there's the big old huge grove. It's not a very tall bamboo. It's short, it's stocky. And you see, they're huge shoots. They'd make good eating. In about a month, they'll still be very tender and won't be useful for any crafts or wood making or building, and they'll be too thick to eat. The best way to eat this is to ferment it. You ferment the shoots. They call it sour bamboo. And otherwise, it doesn't have that much flavor. But it's a moderately slow spreader. Like I said, the wood is not very strong for the other kinds of bamboo. But as you can see, it's a huge bamboo. Huge. That's Vivax for you. A deep green bamboo. The beavers really took a toll on it. I would take you through there. I might make another video, but I can't go through there right now because these little girls will eat it up. To them, it's tender celery. Come on, let's go. Let me get them to come out of here. Hey, come on. Come on. Gotta make them. Come on, let's go. Otherwise, I'm in for a real bamboo snack. And I don't want to lose it. And that's the bamboo. Good girls. Let's head back. I'd say it's about 30 feet tall, and it's about, the width is about, oh man, well, it's as wide as your hand is. If you hold out your outstretched hand, it's that wide. So it's a big bamboo. Not as big as a coffee can, but almost. That's as big as it'll get. It's, like I said, very short and not strong. But the animals think that Vivax tastes better than all the other bamboos. I've noticed they eat that right up any time of the year. Usually they wait till frost before they eat any variety of bamboo because it sweetens the leaves. But I wouldn't recommend Vivax for a grazing operation. I would recommend yellow groove or Bassetti. But this bamboo will well survive zone 7 and warmer climates. It's later to sprout, so it doesn't get hit by the frost as bad. It does some years though. Moso, like I said, always gets hit by frost. It always sprouts before the frost. It's not developed for zone 7 or colder. So I would definitely stay with zone 8 with Moso. I've learned the hard way. And Moso's expensive. And as far as I know, you really can't buy seeds for it. Because I don't know of any groves that have actually bloomed and made seeds. But I might be wrong. I know they sell the seeds, but they must be another variety of bamboo. But I'm gonna keep up on that and see. Vivax is a good bamboo if you want to have a giant bamboo in a hurry, because it really gets fat in a hurry. Whereas yellow groove is a super bamboo for as far north as zone 6 easily, and maybe even 5B. I've never had it freeze back, while the other bamboos all have. And it's super for grazing. The animals love to eat it. And it's big enough for crafts. And it gets about as wide as, I would say it's easily as wide as your middle finger is long. You can stretch your middle finger across it, and it would definitely be wider than that when it's grown. I'll show you some of that later. Anyway, look at these beautiful shoots sticking up. They're great big. Great big. Very happy. As long as I don't get a flood that snaps them off, they're going to be fine. I've had floods snap them off. As you see, we're right by the creek. Anyway, this is a beautiful bamboo. Probably one of my favorite bamboos is Vivax. If I was living in zone 7, which I am, Vivax is the one I recommend for beauty, because it's so dark green and delicate, just for looks. But as far as utilitarian bamboo for zone 7, definitely the yellow groove. It would be the one for every purpose. This is a big patch of stinging nettle. A lot of people think stinging nettle is quite useful. I've got friends that say it's good to slap on arthritis. The stingers are supposed to help with that. It's supposed to be a good pot herb. Once boiled, the stingers are gone. I've never eaten it, and I don't want to. There's so many other things to eat. Just like, so many things. This here is related to yacon, the Andes mountain vegetable. This is the wild weed it came from. This is called, I think it's known as bear paw or hairy overcup. But it's the same thing as yacon, but it doesn't make a tuber at all. The ancients that were geniuses, they developed it into tubers that you could eat that are sweet and delicious. But I found that yacon wasn't very hardy in zone 7. It gets too hot here in the summer and still too cold to overwinter in the winter. This is how big the poke salad's already gotten. It's gotten huge. I don't eat poke salad because the animals don't eat it. You see all this forest understory? It's nice and thick and healthy. And one reason it's healthier than it used to be is because during the summer we get really hot and dry. Believe it or not, it used to completely become devoid of plant life, and the soils were barren, and a lot of it would just sort of blow off during the hot summers. But now, way deep underneath here, you'll see this tiny little plant called Japanese stiltgrass. And it just sleeps, sort of. It's an annual, so it has to come up from seed every year. But it sleeps right now. It just sort of grows very slowly. Then when the temperatures get really hot, it wakes up and it starts growing, and it makes seeds. And the animals eat it, and they love it. And it keeps the soil rich and moist underneath. and protects the land and feeds the animals and provides cover for animals. But most importantly, food. And then when this grass, which is the only grass that really thrives in shade, the only grass that thrives in shade. You see these other grasses, they are very sparse and they don't really thrive. But Japanese tallgrass doesn't like the sun. It loves deep shade. And so it grows when nothing else does under these canopies. And then it dies and leaves a cover on the ground during the winter, which keeps the soil protected and also keeps animals like lizards and things able to hibernate underneath it, or like salamanders and stuff, they can stay under that moist bed. And then by spring it rots away, and of course it also gets eaten once it starts rotting and by earthworms and stuff. And then you have rich soil that this stuff gets fertilized by. So I really like that Japanese tallgrass too. I've had a great love of it. Come on, goats, let's go. Come on, goats. Come on. Come on, hurry up. Come on. They're on their, like kids, they're in their own little mind. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. Tipper, Piper. Come on. Oh, they're not listening. Come on, girls. Come on. Good girls. Good girls. Come on. Come on, girls. I consider Buckeye one of the most beneficial of the forest plants, especially for hummingbirds. Hummingbirds need it. It's designed for hummingbirds. But as you can see, honeybees love it. You can always find lots of bees on Buckeye, and I get a lot of nectar. And most of all, bumblebees love it. And other kinds of bees and flies. That's not a fly, that's a bee. Super nectar plant. They're even getting pollen from it. But that's a bee there that's always on the Buckeye. It's not the kind you keep in a hive. That's one of the forest bees. It isn't a mellifera. There's so many types, so many colors, and every one of these Buckeyes is cherished by bees and butterflies. Here's another. This is yellow groove bamboo. This is the shoots. These are a little smaller this year, but these are the shoots. Those are purple cannas. You can eat the roots, they're delicious. And they've become endemic. Anyway, here's a forest. This is by far the hardiest of bamboos. Now, here's how tender bamboo is when it's young and hasn't developed properly. I'm taking my 2 fingers and I can just snap it off. See all that water in there? It's very, very tender. And the shoots. That's why they call it yellow groove, because it has a little yellow groove in it. See this yellow groove? It's not really a groove, but it's a yellow stripe. But in some there are grooves. When it gets mature, this is an older mature one, it's got a definite distinctive groove right in here. Might make a great flute because of that groove. I don't know how to make flutes. If I did, I could sure make a lot of flutes. A lot of flutes. But this bamboo is very, very edible. But at this stage, right now, it's too late. You have to eat it a couple of weeks back. But look, there's still some. See, these shoots have sort of just. They eliminate their shoots. They make more than they need, and then they just eliminate the rest. See, this is a shoot it's eliminated, and it's just nothing. It's killed it. Then it sacrifices a lot. These are all sacrificed shoots. See, they're dead. They just do that. They make more than they need. That one also was a sacrificed shoot. Didn't need it. See how tender bamboo is when it's young? It's really, really tender. It has to take about a year or two before it gets hard of living. It has to be a year or two. The first season it starts hardening up when it's about 3 months old. The shoot does. But these are the shoots that it decided to keep. See? They're all the way up there already. But to concentrate its energy, it gets rid of a whole bunch of the younger shoots. Well, that's about all I gotta say. And this grass right here you see here, that's from the oats that the horses spilled. The good thing about when you buy grain for animals, you should buy the whole grain, because that way it'll actually sprout. Hey, don't hit that turkey. You should plant the whole grain. give them the whole grain because it'll sprout when it falls, and also it'll last longer before it's split. Mulberries. They love eating that. Don't you bother him. Leave him alone. She's real rambunctious. They have different personalities, of course. You are a person with a personality, that's for sure. One reason I have these little ropes when I'm walking them, I keep a rope on them. They just drag them little leashes behind them. Is because if I don't want them to stay out, I can bring them home. And if they go for an apple tree or something, I can pull them away while I'm walking them. Sort of train them. They already learned to leave them alone when I'm around. But they got a 3-acre fenced area. And whenever I put them back, sometimes they get out. This is plantain on the ground here. It's very delicious. It's almost a vanilla tasting lettuce. Tastes like it anyway. See, little row of apple trees. I have to put a barbed wire strand with posts next to them so the horses don't rub on them. Okay, girls, you gotta be put up. Come on. See, this is how I put them up. Come on. We're gonna go in your little pen. Got their little dog houses. This has been a goat pen for years, and it's got rich soil because I don't let them overdo it. They want to go home anyway. Okay, take your little button off. Go on in. She goes in. And you, come on. Your turn. Go on in. Go home. Take you walking later. But because I take them for walks, this is a very long, narrow stretch. I take them for walks, and they don't overeat their land. You're beautiful, Eugene. If you could only smell the fragrance of this Royal Paulownia tree. It smells so good. It's nice. I just can't believe how long it's bloomed. Went to a lot of work making this bat house years ago. Bought it at Lowe's, all 3 of them. Never had a bat in it once. I think it's because they didn't design it right. So if you get a bat house, make sure that the wood slats are the perfect width, or they won't even go in there. And they'll make bat boxes that don't work. This is proof. I put them way up high. It's about almost 20 feet up, and it's in the full sun, like they told me. I've moved it around different spots. It's on a big long cedar pole. I even put this mesh screen under it so they could land and catch on, and it still didn't work. They got plenty of drop space. It's the width, I'm pretty certain. I won't be buying another bat house. I found a better way. You wrap corrugated tin, used corrugated tin, around old dead trees, and they live under that. It finds the right distance. I read it in an old book from the 1970s that I found in the library years ago. This is red Russian kale. It gets real big, and we save the seeds from it every year. Every year, and it grows right back. Chickens are just like other birds. They take dust baths. This is how they get clean. The gooseberries dropped all their fruit. It's just too warm here. Something to do with the daylight hours or some reason. Gooseberries do not make fruit here. Sometimes I'll get one fruit, but they look like they're going to be loaded in the spring, and this was the biggest load I ever saw. And there's not one berry on this Pixwell currant. Pixwell gooseberry. And here is the clove bush, also known as golden currant. Golden currant, that's what it's mainly known as. And it has not even one. And yet every year it's loaded with flowers. And they have pollination. I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. Why I can't get any fruit in zone 7 with currants or gooseberries. And then they eventually die when it gets hot. A lot of them do. It's just terrible.